All right, we're here at Polk Clark School in Milan, Tennessee. The former Polk Clark School was once known as the Gibson County Training School. We're here because, well, John and I grew up here and it has a lot of history to us. But however, more than just us, it has a lot of history to this community. And we cannot do it justice. However, we have two special guests today, Dr. Robert Clark and Miss Janice Sowell, who are going to tell us all about the history of Polk Clark School. Before we talk to Dr. Clark and Miss Sowell, I just want to get a real quick, there's no way I can do this justice without getting a video of the brick path here. It looks like some of the former alumni of the Gibson County Training School. And I can't get all these, but maybe you may know somebody. Maybe this is some of your family. Maybe some of these are just donors. And you can see this is basically a brick path along the sidewalk, a nice memorial, what looks like to probably some of the alumni. And as you can see, this one, memory of Charles E. Lee Sr., class of 1934, Ida Webb, class of 1938, Donald Lee, class of 1962. But as you can see, just a real beautiful path, kind of a memorial to some of the alumni. And again, we'll go talk with Dr. Clark and Miss Sowell, who can provide much more history about Polk Clark. All right, we're here today with Dr. Robert Clark and Miss Janice Sowell, representing the, is it the Polk Clark Alumni Association?
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Okay. And they're going to give us some real background and some real history about the significance of Polk Clark and what it means, not just to the community, but to the city itself, and just to the state of Tennessee, and the significance of the history of the schools. So we're going to take a little walk around. We're going to go inside, and if you guys are okay, we'll kind of talk along the way. And like I said, I really want to take a look at that playground real quick.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
And the reason I want to take a look at that playground is because I was telling Dr. Clark and Miss Sowell that my mother lives not far from here, and I'll take the grandkids over here. And if you can see those monkey bars there, Dr. Clark,
Yeah.
see those red? Now, Janice, I know you said you went to school here as well, right? Okay, so were those monkey bars there when you went to school?
No, they weren't.
No?
Actually, our playground was over where the historical sign is for the documentation for our historic place in history.
Okay.
So we had swings and monkey bars over there.
Okay.
This was added later, I guess, in the early 80s or something.
Well, it was there when I went here. So I think
Oh my goodness.
77.
70. Okay.
Yes.
It was in the 70s.
Yeah. And I remember climbing across those monkey bars, and we were maybe what, 3.5 foot tall then, but that, we were standing on top of the world when we were on those monkey bars. Yeah.
We actually done some fundraisers in the 70s to get some of the playground equipment.
Yeah. And this, John and I noticed last time we were here, this little free library. I'm gonna close this door here.
This was donated to us students that worked over at Milan High School. Some of the kids that go to school over there live in this neighborhood, and they wanted to some way to give back, and this was one of their ways they want to give back and bring this little free library over here. And it looked like it's been well used.
Yeah.
So,
And
thank those students for that.
definitely, I think it's really great. Really to encourage the reading, and just grab a book.
Just grab a
it's
book.
great. It's great.
Well, you can grab a book and you can bring a book. However, recently some of the school teachers or people who had access to free reading and book exchange, they've actually donated some of the things here. We've had some teachers out of Jackson, local community, who's brought books in hopes that we could utilize this.
Well, I think it's been there's been several added. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. John and I were over here, and there was only a few books in there at that time, so it looks like, you know, definitely it's being used.
Yeah, it's being used. Yeah.
Okay, and that's like I said, those are the kind of things I wish more people knew about, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
All right, if you guys are okay, we'll walk up to the front here, and we can kind of, you know, because you guys are the experts, just kind of talk a little bit about the history of Polk Clark.
Okay. All right. Good.
All right, we're inside the school now with Dr. Clark, and Dr. Clark is the expert, so he's going to give us a lot of history about Polk Clark.
Okay. Well, thank you. This is my class from 1968. I'm on here somewhere.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
find
there
you.
we go.
Is that Dr. Clark?
And we still have quite a few other years up here that tells of stories. Some of these students going on to do great things in life. Some of them served in the military for career time. And it goes back, some of these pictures are missing, but it goes back to
1932
is here. Oh,
Wow.
I'm sorry. The 1932 is here.
All right, so I noticed it says Gibson County Training School, and
Yeah, this school started off as a training facility. When it was first started, only went to the 10th grade, and then later on they added 2 more grades, and it was the only school for blacks, high school for blacks in the county.
okay.
So if you lived in Trenton or Humboldt or somewhere else, you ended up coming here for high school. So it's a training school, and it didn't acquire the name of Polk Clark until 1960, when they changed the name, named it after Dr. Polk, who was an advocate for getting the high school here in the first place, and the first grade teacher, Miss Sleety Clark. So there goes the name Polk Clark.
Okay, so 2 different people then.
2 different people, yes.
Okay.
So they played significant roles early on and directing things and making sure that we had a decent school, a decent learning facility. So it was just fitting and proper that we named the school in their honor. So it went from Gibson County Training School to Polk Clark. So here we are. So we may be able to see the first year that it actually was Polk Clark. You can see in '57 it was still the Gibson County Training School.
Okay.
So even in '61 it was still Gibson County Training School. And then the next year here is this looks like the first year it was Polk Clark, and in that year is '62.
1962, so that was the first year it
So that
became
would be the first year
an actual high school.
it actually became Polk Clark High School.
Okay.
Yeah. New board member there, John Smith.
And this was a high school for African Americans only, correct?
Only, yes.
Okay. Until what year?
I think it was 1972. The school was discontinued because of integration,
Okay.
and it became a grade school.
Did you say 1972?
I think it was '72.
Wow.
So I may be off a year,
Okay.
but
Still, it just seems so late, you know?
yeah. This is one of the things that took place here. Then it became the grade school, and I think you and John here are some of the white students that came over during that time period.
Yeah, I
as they
attended.
integrated the schools.
I attended, I moved here in 1977 in the 3rd grade, and I think that was the last year the 3rd grade was actually here before they moved it to Katie McKellar. And John, you went here in what, grades K through 2?
I didn't go to kindergarten, but 1st and 2nd grade.
Okay.
Miss Taylor was my 1st grade teacher, and Miss Flippin was my 2nd grade teacher.
Okay.
Mr. Barnett was the principal, and one of the people I loved the most here that I just won't ever forget was Mr. Damper. He was a janitor. And Mr. Damper was always a person that would encourage people and make them feel better about themselves, and he just loved everybody. And I'll never forget Mr. Damper, the janitor.
Well, a little story, and I don't know if we can actually see it today or not, but you mentioned Mr. Barnett. Was it Barnett or Burnett? It's always Burnett. Okay. If that hot seat is still there, that would be so cool to see. I remember it was a yellow hot seat, right?
Yeah.
If you were sitting on that hot seat, you were in trouble. Right?
Well, Mrs. Taylor, John's second grade teacher, first grade teacher, she's now Carolyn Sleets, and I'll make sure she knows that you were here today, John, so she can reconnect with you.
All right, some of the teachers I met, I think I remember, well, my homeroom teacher when I moved here in the third grade was Miss Mildred Poole, who I believe she's still alive. The last time I saw her was probably early 2000s, and she hadn't changed a bit. She looked the exact same she did in 1977. Do you remember Miss Mildred Poole? Okay. Well, Paul Poole's kind of big in the city of Milan. I think it was, it was his mother.
Okay.
The thing, I saw her at Walmart and I said, "Hey, I had you in third grade." She said, "A lot of people did." I'm like, okay. So, but yeah. But yeah, a lot of good memories here. And of course, some of those teachers transferred over to Katie McKellar and Park Avenue as well, I think, because I remember Miss Collins. There was lots of Miss Collins, but one was a blonde-haired lady. I think we had her.
Her friend, Miss Cox.
Yeah.
Miss Cox.
Miss Cox. I remember Miss Cox. Yes. I never got a paddler from her, but.
I got a paddler from her.
All right, can you tell us about, you went over some of the history, but can you tell us why it's so important to preserve this, Polk Clark?
Well, all history needs to be told in its most truthful form. Mm-hmm. And that's what this school is all about, supporting that history, but all of the people that matriculated through here over the years. Tons and tons of good things have come out of those kids and having an opportunity to go to school here. So we want to preserve this as a National Historic Site. It is designated a National Historic Site.
It is registered with the National.
Yes, it is, and rightfully so, because it has kind of told the history of how West Tennessee really was and still is. Mm-hmm. The people that had to go to school here, they had sometimes short school year because they had to still work on the farm and do things like that. So it tells a history of how the black population in particular had school time. They had to do the things that they had to do to just get a high school education. It wasn't accessible to everybody when it first started almost 100 years ago. 1926 is when the first school was here. So we're coming up on our 100th anniversary. So history just needs to be told. And if we can refurbish this space, we'll have a great opportunity to tell just that history. So not just people here in Milan or Gibson County, but the people all over West Tennessee will have an opportunity to see how things really were 100 years ago and what we had to go through to just get an education.
Okay. And I think his last year of actual providing, normal school was in 1996. Is that correct?
I think that's about right.
Okay.
I may be off a year or two, but I think that's about right.
Okay. And honestly, like I said, one reason we're doing this is because we talked earlier off camera that it's just very unique that you've been able to preserve it as much as we have. Because we talked about other schools in the community that are just kind of dilapidated, and it's just really unique about the way you have been able to preserve it. But can you tell us about some of the struggles you do have with it? Continuing to keep it preserved.
Well, one of the major struggles we have is that it's 65,000 square feet of space overall. Mm-hmm. Some parts of it is newer than the other. So after 100 years or so, any building starts to fall apart. So you need an opportunity to get funds in here to refurbish this. Right now we had heating system to go out on us, and we're raising funds just to get that back open so that we can continue some of the programming that we do here, like the after school program. So that's very imperative that we do this because, you know, education is important, and oftentimes some kids get left behind, and we want to make sure that no kid gets left behind. And so we want to fill the gap where through normal means some kids just don't get what they need. So we're here to fill that void and to assist in any way that we can. So, you know, we run a summer school program, and it's pretty much a summer camp with fun time, a learning time for kids. Also safe space time, and for kids to be in the loving arms of those teachers that really care and want to move forward with, you know, helping them to be good citizens in the community.
How can the community, the city, how can people help?
Well, we do accept donations of all sizes and all kinds. You can send your donations to Post Office Box 108, Milan, Tennessee, 38358. Address your checks, money orders in care of the Polk Clark Alumni Association, and we take it from there. It's going to take a major doing to get this school back to where we want it to be. It should be a modern day training center so that we can have people to steer them in the right direction, so to speak, so we can get that going. And if we get enough money to refurbish some space so that we can have all these things in place, then it'll be a win for the whole community.
It'd be a win for not just the whole community, but for the city, the state.
Yes.
Okay.
And if any city officials or county officials happen to see this video, we would love for you to think more of us, think more of helping us with some of the funding that we need to preserve this historic location.
Talking about people like aldermen, mayors,
Yeah,
county
those
commissioners,
ones, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Who are those, John? Not trying to put anybody on the spot, but I don't know if you want to call out any names or not.
No, I'm not going to call
Okay.
any names. They know who they are, and
Okay.
if they have a chance to understand what we're going through here and have a desire to help, then our doors and arms are open at all times.
Yeah, because really, you know, I mean, this place, you know, this place could really be, and it is, not could be, but is an asset to the community.
Yes, I think so.
All right, now we're in the museum, correct?
We're in the museum room.
Okay.
You can see some of the artifacts here. Our mascot was buffaloes.
Really?
You can see a buffalo there, a big buffalo on the wall over there. So that's the tradition we had to give up because of integration. We didn't keep the buffalo anymore. I think the bulldogs here at Milan now. But anyway, some artifacts here about some of the teachers that taught here. I see a picture of the band leader, Mr. Hodge.
And if anybody's from Milan and played in the band, and back in the 80s, maybe early 90s, and well before the 80s too, Mr. Robert Hodge, yes.
He was a good band leader. There's an old high school math teacher, Miss Delta. She lived in Humboldt. She drove here every day to teach.
And I'll just take a look around, kind of scan a little bit. And here's a little newspaper article about Dr. Polk.
Yes, Dr. Polk. He's a physician here.
And I think these desks are so neat.
Yeah. It didn't look that small when I was going to school, but they look a little small now.
And just looking at these books.
Tough notes. You have to give a picture, get a shot of this here. Bill Wright,
Mm-hmm.
he's an outstanding baseball player.
Okay. And you went to school here?
He went to school here, yes. He's now in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so that's one, I don't want to say celebrity, but celebrity.
Yeah, somewhat of a celebrity.
Wild Bill Wright.
He was outstanding. There's an old relic from the gym, that's game clock basketball. I don't know how accurate it was, even when it was being used, but nevertheless, we used it.
Look at these jackets here.
Cheerleading and basketball. These are basketball team.
So you say cheerleading?
This one's cheerleader.
Okay.
This one's basketball.
Wow.
See, there's a uniforms.
Just wonder about how old those
Oh
are.
my goodness.
Well, it says Polk Clark High School, so it dates back to probably the early 60s.
Wow.
Those pictures.
The phonograph there.
That's all right. Yeah.
Edgar has his stuff hanging in here.
What you mean?
Edgar, he's the board member, treasurer person.
No, that's his dad.
That's his daddy.
That's his dad.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
I couldn't.
Professor Lee.
Ida Webb.
That's his sister, Professor Lee's sister.
Okay, here's some more of the old,
Nice pictures, yeah.
yeah.
(1970) was the last class.
We want to clarify that.
This is 9091. What is this? I don't know what that is.
That's a yearbook.
Okay.
Who it belonged to. Most of these artifacts you see in here were donated by alumni.
Okay. Here's a vintage artifact by itself. Chalkboard.
Most kids today probably wouldn't know what that is.
No, we would not.
Our after school program kids do. We had to write on it.
Brad, would you get a shot of all of the past principals, all the principals we had here?
Yes, sir. All right. I'm guessing, no, that's not. Yes, I knew that was Mr. Burnett. I could recognize Mr. Burnett today.
You were going to school.
Yes, sir.
This was the principal when I was going to school, T.R. Hartsfield.
T.R. Hartsfield?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. This was our first principal we had in 26.
Miss Taylor was the one.
I didn't ever get a chance to meet him.
26 to 32?
Her daughter, Miss Beth.
69 to 72, it looks like.
That's Anderson, Principal Anderson. He was my history teacher.
Okay. And like we were talking about earlier, the hot seat, Mr. Burnett, that's what he was famous for. So he was principal for 20 years, it looks like.
Yeah, 20
Okay.
years. I didn't realize that.
And it seems like I've heard this name before, Ann
was our
Chambers.
last principal here right before everything closed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
See the old school desk and kind of fun. The apple, of course, but
Well, there's your teacher.
right, maybe some teachers here.
No, it's a different Miss
Do you have any teachers who recognize John?
Mr. Hodge.
Yeah, Mr. Hodge and I believe Mr. Smith.
Miss Radford, was she not still there
Mr. Hodge.
when you got to Milan?
Mr. Smith, see, I remember the name.
Carmack, he was our PE teacher, gym teacher.
Okay.
When I was here, Miss Evans was our PE teacher.
Is that Pete Evans'
Yes,
wife?
you don't see these anymore.
And what you got, John? What is that? What is that?
It's a Board of Education.
I saw a few of those.
It'll teach you a lesson.
Board of Education.
And the teachers that really knew how to use them had holes in them, so the wind would blow.
So they can suck the meat up.
But pieces of history.
Imitation of life.
We're now in the cafeteria, which also has the stage as well. I remember I was talking earlier that we actually watched Jack and Jill with Abbott and Costello here in this cafeteria. Now, is that a projector there? Or not a projector, but a screen right there that comes down?
I think there's Wi-Fi. I don't know.
No, I mean on the wall there.
Oh,
I think it's probably a screen.
probably an old screen.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, like I said, we watched the movie in here, and it was just the coolest thing in the world, you know, at the time.
It was a cafeteria,
Yeah.
cafeteria and auditorium. That's why we got the name cafetorium.
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 But, and remarkably, you know, it's remarkably great, though. I mean, you still use this and have functions here?
All the time.
Okay,
This is our better room.
Yes.
okay. And there's the cafeteria now. This is where, in third grade, you know, I got my lunch every day. Yeah. And you said, you know, that and we'll talk about some of the things you do later as far as community goes, but I'm guessing, you know, a lot of this really, I mean, even though it looks great, a lot of it probably really hadn't changed.
A lot of it really hasn't, and we've just recently had a donation from United Healthcare to give us an industrial refrigerator, a commercial refrigerator. We're currently working on the stove system. There's just so much that is still like it used to be.
But looks immaculate, though.
Thank you. We have to give credit to some of the board members who spend hours tirelessly working to make sure that it stays up to standard so that we can use it for community functions. Our last, not Christmas, but Thanksgiving dinner was served from here. You know, so the food warmers, some things were prepared here, but also things were brought in. And we were able to do and manage it effectively and serve over 200 people.
Wow.
For Thanksgiving.
Awesome. And again, I don't remember, but I'm sure we had plenty of plays up there.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's just amazing, because like John was saying, it was probably about 5 years ago, I guess, you know, I came and visited y'all while you actually had a church function play up there, I think. So, but I mean, looks good to this day.
It does. During our summer program, we utilize this, of course, for all of our meals, but we also utilize it for activities. If we look over there on that wall, there's some of the artwork left from our summer program. Most of the kids took their stuff home, but we would have loved for them to leave it. But you know, just remnants of historic things happening here at Polk Clark.
Yes. All right, Miss Janice is truly passionate, and I can see you can see it in her face. But she's going to kind of tell us just about some of the activities that they do here at the Polk Clark Community Center, or Training Center.
Well, first of all, my name is Janice Sowell, and I am a 1975 graduate of Milan High School. However, my elementary and junior high years were served here. This school means just so much to me and my family. I had 8 brothers and sisters that came through this school. So, and my parents stayed in the community until they passed. I still have my nieces, nephews, sisters, and brothers that are still here. Although I don't live in Milan anymore, I'm still as passionate about the success of this school as I am about anything else probably that I do. I do want to share with you just some of the vision of this alumni board, and I'll start by just sort of reading them out to you. However, you can just sort of imagine the thought that went into this. We went out, we found people to help us to formulate our vision, and not just for this school, but for the community, and how we would like to use Polk Clark. First of all, it says the Polk Clark Alumni Board's vision, and it says a community access to areas of interest. That means that museum and all of those things that we have that are so positive that we would love to share. There's so much history here within this school. When you think about it, whether it was music, sports, entertainment, and right now today we can still look out and see the effect that this school has. Even our Dr. Clark here, who was a graduate, I think in 1968, has a prominent practice in Chattanooga. Then we come back and we have Mr. Edgar Lee. He himself, his father, they were all part of this thing. So we want to bring the interest back and show the things that we've done. We'll go back to getting participation, not just from us old people. I say that lovingly, but we do want to draw in the rest of the community and those that are younger and bright ideas, because with youth comes ideas and change. Youth development. Like I said, video games are great. But there's just so much more out there that we can share with them, and this alumni board would like to do that. Positive objectives and outcomes, senior citizen activities. Our senior citizens, technology has just zoomed past us. And I know for myself, it's a learning process every day. But fundamentals, you can't even go to the doctor now without signing in on the computer or somebody doing something. Everything, go online and look, can you get your papers filled out before you get here? So we want to promote that so that people can feel comfortable about the outside world and as technology changes. Safe haven. I see where it is on this list, but a safe haven is real important, especially in the environment that we're living in today. If you take this and say, hey, I know when I drop my children off at Polk Clark, they're going to be fine. And while they're there, they're going to be learning something, and they're also going to be just getting good community interactions and diverse things from their fellow classmates, from other people in the community. And then we come down to financial security. And this is something that everyone can help us with. You don't have to know how to teach. You don't have to know how to run, read, do a computer, but you can help us be secure in doing the things that have to be done. Day-to-day maintenance. We love our community. We want to be here for the community. We want to be able to utilize this not only as a voting precinct, but also as a family center when things happen tragic. We don't like to have to do funerals here, but sometimes it's the only place in the community that we can come. And then you turn around and not only the community for funerals, repasts, but for community events. Oh, our fall festival, our Thanksgiving feed, our Christmas giveaway. We do so many things that are done just for our community and to create brotherhood and sisterhood within our times. Yes. So under that financial security and all those things we do, it takes something to make that happen. Again, this is part of our vision, is to make it happen. And let's get down to diversity. That means being able to flow in and out of what things that are out here. Diverse people, diverse options, diversity is having lots of different ways to do lots of different things. And we want to be able to do that. We want to be able to work within our community as far as our fire, our police, our teachers, our educators, and you know, just our lay people. Again, our churches, oh, they have been phenomenal in making this happen. And I say that we even have done community-wide vacation Bible school, so that all the churches together, we want to be a place where, again, that a diverse population can come in on one common good and do some things. And then the culture is a democracy. We all have ideas. We can all work together. We can put these things into place. We can make them happen. But again, we have to understand that people are different, but at the same time, we're all the same, looking for love, care, affection, and being recognized as a human being. Then we take the, well, it says exceptional. We are exceptional. We have stood the test of time. We're still here. And it's taken hard work, exceptional leadership, which our leadership right now is falling under Dr. Robert Clark, which was a 68 graduate. And then we have some really great board members. And then a mutual respect. I cannot tell you how I feel about this opportunity to do this today. Mr. Don, Mr. Brad Moore, Mr. John Wheeler, Dr. Clark, all of us are here to work together to see this place be what it can be. The greatest opportunity, having lived in this community, having grown up in this community, having family in the community, one common good. We can make this work for everyone. And again, that's done with mutual respect for one another. And then this day, this action-oriented day, there was a need seen by Mr. Brad here. And he's like, okay, I see something. Let's do something about it. And then John Wheeler, we all, okay, we can work this together. And I appreciate, I have a mutual respect. I have a respect for being action-oriented. I think this is exceptional. And last but not least, we can work together as a democracy within this confines. This school, Polk Clark School, and the Alumni Association are just biting at our nails, trying to make things happen and keep this as a community treasure. There's so many great things here, and I appreciate your time.